to the class of Math 1450, Math and the Modern World. And this time we will continue work on Chapter 5, Algebra. Hopefully by this point you understand algebra, it is just about numbers, notations, and operations. And in this section, we are going to work on the so-called quadratic equations. Okay. Basically, after this section, you are going to know the FOIL rule. It is the multiplication for binomials, and you are going to know the reversed FOIL rule, the so-called factorization of trinomials, and then we will work on solving quadratic equations using different methods, especially factoring and the quadratic formula. Well, let's move on to the topic of polynomials. Polynomials, usually a polynomial has many terms. So first we start with the concept of a term. Okay. A term, usually it has a number which is called a coefficient, followed by the notation, and the notation raising to the power, raising to a particular power. So this is a term I'm talking about. A is a notation, and x is a variable, x raising to the power of m. That is a term. That is a single term. Very simple. And when a polynomial only has a single term, simply it is called as a monomial. And these are the so-called monomials. This might be a little unusual if you want to have a single number. A single number we can call a single number as a term too. Okay. And this is a term, -2 times x squared. The coefficient, it is -2. Okay. X raising to the power 2. And the other terms should be easy to recognize. And hopefully see, we don't necessarily just only use notation x, y, or could it be c, could it be a, b, c, or any notations. Okay, any notations. That is a monomial. A single term forms a monomial. And then a polynomial, it is simply the combination of multiple terms. Okay. Addition, I say combination, I mean addition and subtraction. And again, I really want to mention in math class, you want to understand somewhat, especially in my class, I always try to emphasize addition only, because subtraction, it is just an addition. Okay, subtraction, it is addition by the opposite. So addition and subtraction really the same. Okay, and then we see we have some polynomials. A polynomial, it has multiple terms. This is a polynomial, and that is a polynomial. And the last one, hopefully you feel more comfortable, that is a polynomial, right? Polynomial may have many terms, and a single term, it is monomial. And when you have a polynomial with 2 terms, it is called as binomial. Okay. Certainly when you have a polynomial with 3 terms, it's a trinomial. It's a trinomial. Okay. And also the other thing worth to mention, usually when we have a polynomial, because we do have notation x a lot, x raising to the power, and usually we arrange those powers in the descending order. Especially you look at the term I highlighted over here. We're having x to the 4th power, then to the 3rd power, and so forth. This is a polynomial in the descending order. Okay, and also you look at this trinomial. It's in the descending order too, right? It's in the descending order. Y to the power 2 to the power 1, single number 2. You may want to say there's y, but y raising to the power 0. So it's in the descending order. Okay. And so a polynomial, it may have many terms, such that all the terms are connected by the plus sign or minus sign. Okay. It's the addition or subtraction of multiple terms. That's a polynomial. A polynomial with 2 terms, it is called as binomial. And then polynomial with 3 terms, simply it is called as trinomial. A trinomial, this is a trinomial right here. This is a trinomial, okay. These are the examples of the trinomials. And let's take a quick look about the multiplication of 2 binomials first. I'm saying hopefully you still remember the so-called FOIL rule. This example should be very simple. We are considering x plus 2 times x plus 3. So the first term, it is the product of 2 first terms. And in this case, if for both parts, okay, the first term it is as x. So I have the product of 2 first terms, x squared. Then the product of 2 out terms, x and 3. Those are the out terms, 3x. Product of 2 inner terms, 2x. And product of 2 last terms, 2 and 3. And with this, we get the result. Multiplication of binomials using the so-called FOIL rule. And the next one, well, I say the same thing. You just need to follow the FOIL rule, okay? First term, out term, inner term, and the last term carefully. So I'm having this as the product of the 2 first terms. Then this is the product of 2 out terms. And also look at this -5. I'm really consider this as 3x plus -5. So term-wise, instead of saying subtraction, I want to say it is added by a term with the number -5. -5, okay. So out term, and then inner term, last term. And hopefully this should be a very simple thing. And yeah, this is how we get the result. And then sometimes we do need to consider the factorization of trinomials. And also, yeah, just wish to mention, you look at the multiplication of binomials, and we got 3 terms, right? And the result is a trinomial, and the result is trinomial. In other words, not always, sometimes a trinomial can be factored back into the product of 2 binomials. Okay, so it can be factored. And the next one also can be factored because remember this week, this section topic, it is about quadratic equations. In particular, we needed to solve quadratic equations. Indeed, I want to say factoring. It is a big method. It is a very important method and an effective one to solve quadratic equations. And there are more lectures and videos on the topic of factoring trinomials. Here, well, you can find a link from the PDF file directly. Thank you for watching.